Good morning, everyone. I'm Teddy, and you are listening to Analyze This Mess. I have some very important information that I'm going to be speaking about this morning that involves two orders that came in overnight that directly impact me. Also, orders that have granted the motion to quash for both John Doe and Danielle Robertson. Please be respectful in the chat. I have set the chat to subscriber mode only for 60 minutes. Shout out to the mob. All my other bears, I call the grizzlies and the honey bears. You see, I wanted to right there share that with you, but I'm going to do what I've done as far as presenting my broadcast. So grab a cup of coffee, a beverage, and I'm going to read the orders. There's a lot in here. There's a new deadline, and this time it's for me. Okay. Let me pause just for a moment to say again, please be respectful in the chat. If anyone makes any comments that are disrespectful, I'm going to be asking my moderator to delete the comments. First, screenshot the comments. Go to that channel, screenshot the URL. Okay. So before you delete the comment, go to that channel by clicking on the three buttons. Screenshot the channel, including the URL. Okay. And then delete their comment. Okay. So that's a fair warning. I'm a professional. I do things in order. I respect the law. And I respect the judge's decision in this matter. Decisions. That's part of my disclaimer. D for disclaimer. And now it's time. So, good morning. As many of you know, I'm the plaintiff in a federal civil case that is both active and ongoing. Because of the seriousness of what's at stake, and in light of recent claims that have been submitted in court, I could characterize those claims but I'm going to withhold that for the moment. It's important I take a moment to update the public and clarify a few key issues without compromising what must remain protected for legal reasons. This isn't about online back and forth. This is about jurisdiction, due process, and accountability. It's about a repeated pattern of behavior that has crossed legal lines and crossed state lines. Behavior that includes impersonation, interference with medical and legal matters, and documented contact with individuals in my family and my home state. At this time, I will not be disclosing the full scope of my legal argument, but I will say this: I have receipts, I have audio, I have documentation, and I have verifiable proof, all of which will be presented where it belongs, in court. This is D for due process, where we let the facts speak. The court decides, and the truth rise. So, this is Analyze This Mess. D for due process. Because somebody has to say it. All right. So let's just get to it, shall we? Let me pull my headphones off. I'm going to get to the first order. Hang on. This clock that you see off to your right, my right, that is a deadline that has been given to me. This is a major turning point in this case. Let me say that once more. This is a major turning point in this case. Okay. Because as of today, I have got to respond to the judge. And the clock is ticking for me. Do you see? It's proof when I say I update the clock, even if it's for me. Everything is riding on the response that I give to the judge. This case, if it's going to move forward, it's riding on a response. I have been given a number of days, and that's the deadline that you see. Clock ticking down. I'm getting ready to read this verse. There's another order to show cause. I have told my audience that anything can happen. It's a day by day, step by step, but this is the fork in the road. This is the critical juncture in this process right now. It is all going to hinge on a response. So let me tell you what the judge wrote and came in overnight. In the case of Sabrina Evans, plaintiff versus Daniel Robertson et al. Defendants, case number 24CV13435. Honorable Judith E. Levy and Magistrate Judge Elizabeth A. Stafford. Order to show cause. Let me back away from the mic. Please let me know if the sound is good. I haven't even checked for that. Okay. Give me a thumbs up right now before I move forward in this document. Okay. Sound is good? Great. All right. So listen carefully. to this. And as I read it, it will continue to solidify what I need to do and responsibility and what is being asked of me. Okay. Order to show cause. Plaintiff Sabrina Evans sues defendant Daniel Robertson and Jane Does 1 through 10 for copyright infringement, defamation, fraud, and harassment. ECF number 1, the complaint. The Honorable Judith E. Levy referred the case to the undersigned for all pretrial matters under 28 U.S.C. 636B1 ECF 7. Robertson, superscript 1, has made a limited appearance in this case as Jane Doe, explaining that Daniel Robertson is not her legal name. ECF number 28, page ID 183. She challenges whether the court has personal jurisdiction over her and whether she was properly served. Page ID 182-183 or through 192 through 194. Let me highlight the superscript is for the sake of clarity. This is superscript 1. The court refers to this individual as Robertson. Okay. Evans alleges that Robertson is a citizen of Delaware, while Robertson's filings contain a mailing address in Wyoming. See ECF number 1, page ID 5, ECF number 20, page ID 125 through 126, and ECF number 28, pages ID 197. Although Robertson's exact citizenship is unclear, the parties agree that she is not a Michigan citizen. The validity of this or of a court, let me start again. The validity of a court order or judgment depends on the court having jurisdiction over the subject matter and the parties. LGT Enterprises LLC versus Holman 614F Supplemental 2D 825 and 833 WD Michigan 2009. And as the party seeking to enforce a non-resident to defend an action in Michigan, Evans bears the burden of showing personal jurisdiction over Robertson, ID. Where a federal court's subject matter jurisdiction over a case stems from the existence of a federal question, personal jurisdiction over a defendant exists if the defendant is amenable to service of process under the form states long arm statute, and if the exercise of personal jurisdiction would not deny the defendant due process. Birds versus Parsons, 289, F 3D 865 and 871, 6 Circular 2002, cleaned up. Michigan's long arm statute recognizes both general and limited personal jurisdiction. Michigan Comp Law 600.701 and 600.705. General personal jurisdiction requires the defendant's physical presence or domicile in the state at the time of service, or the defendant's consent to suit. ID 600.701 .701. Limited personal jurisdiction exists if the claims arise out of the transaction of any business within the state. Alex Partners LLP versus Brewington, 836 F3D 554 and 549. Let me read those numbers again. 543 and 549, 6 Circular 2016, cleaned up. Okay. Because Michigan's long arm statute only extends to the limits imposed by federal constitutional due process requirements, courts must also ensure that exercising personal jurisdiction satisfies due process. ID cleaned up, or ID. Due process requires that a non-resident defendant have certain minimum contacts with the form state such that the maintenance of the suite does not offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. Again, ID cleaned up. Courts evaluate 3 factors in determining whether this standard is satisfied. First, the defendant must purposefully avail himself of the privilege of acting in the form state or causing a consequence in the form state. Second, the cause of action must arise from the defendant's activities there. And finally, the acts of the defendant or consequences caused by the defendant must have a substantial enough connection with the form state to make the exercise of jurisdiction over the defendant reasonable. ID at 549 through 50 cleaned up. The complaint alleges that Robertson unlawfully obtained and distributed Evans' likeness on her YouTube channel and made defamatory statements about Evans on YouTube and other social media platforms. ECF number 1, pages ID 7 through 8. And Evans admitted in the complaint that she brought the action against Jane Doe, also known as Daniel Robertson, and 9 other social media handles, ID page ID 4 and 6. The complaint does not plausibly allege that Robertson, an anonymous non-resident of Michigan who allegedly acted online, had the requisite minimum contacts to satisfy due process. And before a federal court may exercise personal jurisdiction over a defendant, the procedural requirement service of summons must be satisfied. Omni Capital International Limited versus Rudolph Wolf and Company Limited, or LTD. I believe that's what it stands for. 484 US 97104, 1987. Evans bears the burden of providing that she properly served Robertson. Metro Alloys Corporation versus State Metals Industry Incorporated, 416F Supplemental 2D 561 563 ED Michigan 2006. I'm going to pause just a moment. Give me just a moment to get a glass of water while I continue to proceed. And I'm sure you can hear me in the background. I just got my water. So let's continue. Thank you. Take your time, Teddy. There's a request for me to reread the last paragraph, I believe starting with Evans. It's the last paragraph, so let me go up. I will read the last paragraph. If this is the one, please give me a thumbs up right now. I don't want to do any unnecessary reading at this moment. The last sentence begins with the. Is that the sentence you are asking me to reread just before the paragraph I'm in now? As you can see, I'm looking at the chat on this broadcast. I do interact with my chat when it's appropriate. Yep, you read or read providing instead of proving. Let me make sure it's read correctly. Beginning here at the. Correct. All right, so I will begin here because I want to make sure I'm reading correctly. I have been up very late. The complaint does not plausibly allege that Robertson, an anonymous non-resident of Michigan who allegedly acted online, had the requisite minimum contracts to satisfy due process. I'm thinking that's contacts, but it says contracts. Okay. I go on. And before a federal court may exercise personal jurisdiction over a defendant, the procedural requirement of service of summons must be satisfied. Omni Capital International Limited versus Rudolph Wolf and Company Limited, 484 U.S. 97104 in 1987. Evan bears the burden of proving that she properly served Robertson. Metro Alloys Corporation versus State Metals Industry Incorporated, 416F Supplemental 2D 561 and 563, ED Michigan 206. The party on whose behalf service of process was made has the burden of establishing its validity. Let me read that one more. The party on whose behalf service of process was made has the burden of establishing validity. The court questioned several times whether Evans properly served Robertson. ECF number 13 and ECF number 14, ECF number 20. Although the court recently suggested that service may be satisfactory, Robertson has since disputed whether she appointed a registered agent and whether the service documents properly named her in a filing ECF number 24, ECF number 28. By June 4th, 2025, Evans must show cause whether the court can exercise personal jurisdiction over Robertson and whether Robertson was properly served. Until these issues are resolved, Evans may not file any other motions or other documents. It's signed Elizabeth A. Stafford, United States Magistrate Straight Judge. It's dated May 22nd, 2025. Yesterday, when I last looked at the docket history, of these filings, which was, I believe, right around maybe 5:30 or so, after closing, I always check. And I may have checked again, before my broadcast. I'm, looking enough to see if anything has been entered. Okay. And then this morning, I said this came in. Okay. I saw it. Right. There's a notice to parties about objections with this order, and any party may file objections with the assigned judge. Okay. Let me go to the next one, very important. And it has to do with the quash, the decision. It's a very important one. And the one that I just read, the first one, that clock, DForDueProcess, that's how much time I have from now by June 4th to show cause whether the court can exercise personal jurisdiction over Robertson and whether Robertson was properly served. Until these issues are resolved, I cannot file any other motions or other documents before this court. That's why I said this is very pivotal. This is a fork in the road. It's DForDueProcess, and that clock is the countdown for me to respond. Okay. So the clock is ticking, and the time that I spend on this platform going forward is also critical, as it would cut into that clock. So even right now, I'm very deliberate. D for deliberate. I think it's important for people to know, as I did read the order that came down, I will be reading the orders given by the court, whether it's an order for myself as the plaintiff and or an order for the defendants. I asked last night for fairness. If you listen to what I said, what I want, I did include that. I did say at least twice in the last couple of broadcasts that a blindfold, is of Lady Justice, is blindfolded. And fairness and weighing the balance of everything against what is law. It's not about impartiality. It's about law and judgment. Okay? Let me move on to this second one. I respect the rule of law. I am governed by laws in this country. I respect the judgment of this court. Let me pull up number 2. The second one that was filed. You can contact me right now at unwinewithteddy@gmail.com. I look at the comments. I look at my emails. Some I respond to and others I have not. Thanks again to my moderators, Baby Juju and Vicky Black. Let me continue. In the same United States District Court, Eastern District of Michigan, Southern Division. Sabrina Evans, et al., plaintiff, versus Daniel Robertson, et al., defendants. In the case number of 24CV13435, Honorable Judith E. Levy, Magistrate Judge Elizabeth A. Stafford. So this was the second order. It's ECF number 62. It's the order granting non-party John Doe's motion to quash subpoena, ECF number 27, and granting defendant Robertson's motion to quash subpoenas in ECF number 28, and denying plaintiff's motion to compel, ECF number 25. So as I mentioned straight away at the beginning, granting John Doe's motion to quash the subpoena, granting defendant Robertson's motion to quash subpoena. Daniel Robertson, as named in these filings, showed up. And denying plaintiff, myself, motion to compel, ECF number 25. Let me read it. Make sure I'm looking at the comments. Plaintiff Sabrina Evans served subpoenas under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 45 on non-party block, Incorporated Cash App, seeking information for accounts linked to defendant Daniel Robertson. ECF number 27, page ID 171. A non-party identifying himself as John Doe seeks to quash the subpoenas claiming that Evans seeks disclosure of his personal and private information that is irrelevant to this action. ECF number 27. Robertson appearing as Jane Doe because Daniel Robertson is allegedly not her legal name, also seeks to quash Rule 45 subpoenas that Evans allegedly, gonna move my mouse here, served on Google. ECF number 28, page ID 183. So we got John Doe, quash the subpoena to Block Inc. Cash App. This may be the first time you're hearing about the subpoena sent to Google. This is an ECF number 27, Robertson appearing as Jane Doe because Daniel Robertson is allegedly not her legal name, also seeks to quash Rule 45 subpoenas that Evans allegedly served on Google. ECF number 28, page ID 183. Evans, in turn, moves to compel Block Inc.'s compliance with the subpoena, ECF number 25. Evans' subpoenas are premature. Rule 26D1 precludes parties from seeking discovery from any source before the parties have conferred, as required by Rule 26F, except in a proceeding exempted from initial disclosure under Rule 26A1B, or when authorized by these rules by stipulation or by court order. None of the exceptions to this rule apply, nor has Evans requested early discovery. Thus, John Doe's and Robertson's motions to quash are granted, and Evans' motion to compel is denied. D for denied. At this stage, the court must determine whether it has personal jurisdiction over Robertson and whether Evans properly served Robertson. Until the court determines those issues, Evans may not seek further discovery from any source. It's signed again by the Honorable Elizabeth A. Stafford, United States Magistrate Judge, and dated May 22nd, 2025, with same notices of objections and to all of the parties. It's been ordered. And so now, hang on. I have 12 days, 13 hours, 22 minutes, and 35 seconds to respond. Show cause that Daniel Robertson was properly served and that this court has jurisdiction over the defendant. Please be respectful in the bear cave in your comments. Your comments are welcome so long as they are respectful. Respect this process, respect this platform. Respect what's going on in this case. The judge has spoken. I cannot offer the judge anything more at this moment until I offer her the information that I've read and that is required. It is the pivotal moment for me in this case. One of the pivotal. I'll just say one of them. It is the most important one at the moment in terms of responding, my responsibility, if I want this case to stay alive. If those requirements are not met, this case could be dismissed. D for dismissed. You see how I apply the D for something, even in my case? That's further proof that D for something is not for anything other than how I've intended to use it to identify and signal. I started that, and now it's become part of my brand. And now it is D for due process. It's serious. All right. I have work to do. This is grave. Anything can happen. I have said this time and time and time again. In the beginning of this case, when I first filed it, I took time to set the expectations for my audience who are following me, for the mob, my other bears. I call the grizzlies and the honey bears, to publicly speak it so it could be well known what the expectations and or not. I have never said I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I've said I mean, if you just follow that sentence, I have said I don't know what's going to happen, but I have never said that I know this or that in this case. I said I don't know a lot of things. I said that I'm learning as I move through this process. I want it to be known at this moment, right here in this moment, on May the 23rd, 2025 at 10:43 a.m. that I, Sabrina Evans, I do not feel D for defeated. It's D for due process. And this case has not been dismissed as of right now. But it is hanging in the balance of a legal system in the federal district court here in the Eastern District of Michigan Southern. I want people to understand that. So I made myself clear so there is no misunderstanding. I have said what I need to say. For now. Hang on for a second. looking for something. Hang on. I just want to get, just bear with me. We are just about finished. I've been on for 1 hour, 2 minutes, and some seconds. Okay. So that means, everybody knows I'm usually on for an hour. And when it approaches that time, I always look at the clock. Okay. I'm weighing carefully what I say. Order my steps. As I prepare to move forward, I want to be clear. This battle isn't just legal. It's spiritual. I've done my part to stand on truth, to gather evidence, and to bring the facts forward. But the outcome, that part, I now place fully in the hands of God. I trust that what is done in darkness will be brought to light, and that justice in its full form will prevail in God's time and in God's way. So I thank you all for standing with me, for praying with me, and staying informed, not just for me, but for everyone who's ever been silenced, stalked, or slandered, and told to just let it go. This is for DForDueProcess. And this is not the end. I am looking over your comments real quick, and then I'm going to say goodbye. I'm also checking my email, so just hang on for a moment as I look through these comments and or emails and see if there's anything else that I'd like to, respond to or read. All right, so I've reviewed the comments, and I think I've see a lot of things that are being said and suggestions. I'm going to read this one. Baby Juju, my moderator, says Romans 12:12. Be patient in your afflictions, joyful in your hope, and faithful in your prayers. May God be with you, Teddy, Vicky Black. Um, Joanne says, one last hurdle. You're doing good, Teddy. June Buck. He is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And yes, God have the last word. Always. Yes, those that put their hope in God will never be put to shame. I see Mimi Twin out there, Rare Groove, Blessed, Miss Vaughn 50, who gives her advice or her opinion of taking care of my business, that my real supporters will be here when I return. Mhm. He will never leave you or forsake you. It's written. That's it for me. I think I've carefully reviewed everything. And I will say, keep your bear phones on. Please be respectful with your comments on my platform, any other platform, about this case, if you are a true supporter. It's your opinion, and you have your right to give your opinion. All I ask is that you be respectful to me if you give that opinion. I cannot control what people say or do, who they are and where and what. I can only ask. Now, now it's time to say biggest bear hugs go out to each and every one of the grizzlies and the honey bears. Biggest bear hugs. Okay? Please hit the like on your way out. Check the community wall. You see the time countdown there. I will be displaying it when and if I come to the microphone to speak again about this or anything. It's time to focus. It's D for deep. It's D for due process. It's D for decisions. It's Analyze This Mess. Because somebody has to say it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. Join me sometime later. Perhaps today. Tonight. I don't know. But I have work to do. Thanks for watching. Again, until next time. And the next time. I'm Teddy. Good day.